Alrighty, kiddos. So today we are going to be talking about direct quoting and paraphrasing. So if you kind of remember how way back in our literary essay unit, aka a couple weeks ago, we talked about how you had to directly quote the text and also paraphrase. Something your teachers kind of discovered is that we need a little help with paraphrasing, and so I hope today is going to help. So just a quick refresher: direct quoting are where things are straight from the text. It's word for word from the article, word for word from that. It typically uses, it has to use quotation marks, and there's always an in-text citation. So an example of a direct quote, here's some ways that we can use quotes and why we use quotes. To bring a person to life by conveying something that only they, in their own words, can talk about. So like the quote over there says, "One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world," by Malala. So that's really important because having like the own words from the person or the own words from the article can really start to bring that person to life. Also, to show that the writing is research-based and evidence-based, because we are writing a research paper, we need to have quotes from our research, so that's pretty important. To also highlight a piece of information, that is pretty important for the fact that, you're trying to tell me more information about something. And so to highlight specifically how many animals a day are abused is really important to like the overall part of your piece, the overall why your piece comes together. It also is to accentuate a central idea. So like your idea is that abusing animals is bad. And so to be able to show you why abusing animals is bad, here's a couple of facts and statistics. Also to offer more perspectives on the information, to offer more things other than just your own ideas about things, to offer like an expert's ideas. So this is kind of why we use quotations. So we talked a little bit about direct quotes. Here's an example of a direct quotes. So if you remember from that Malala the Powerful article, it says, "It turns out there was something she could do. Malala possessed a weapon, her own voice, and she would risk everything to use it." So this is a really good example of a direct quote because it's got the quotation marks, even though I forgot the one at the end. But this is like word for word from the text. I didn't make that up on my own. Then we get to paraphrasing, where paraphrasing is your own words. It's not just changing a word or two from the original thing. It is like not a direct match to the quote. It should kind of have the same ideas, but not be using the same language. You also need an in-text citation. Keep that in mind because we will be doing a lot with in-text citations on this paper. So we go back to that idea of, it turns out there was something she could do. Malala possessed a weapon, her own voice, and she would risk everything to use it. An example of maybe a 1-star or not a very great paraphrase would be, there was something Malala could do. She had a weapon, her own voice. She was not afraid to use it. Yeah, that sounds pretty similar to the first one. It talks about like her weapon and her voice. It doesn't really change very much up. So this one, that direct quote sounds basically just like a 1-star. However, if you get to a 2-star, it says Malala could do something. Her voice was her most powerful weapon, and she would stop at nothing to use it. So, okay, it's getting a little bit more in my own words. I kind of changed the order of some things around. But I think that I can kind of rephrase this a little bit better. So this is why this is a 2-star, is because it's not just changing a word or two like the previous example. It's really changing a lot of what's going on. However, you want to be at a 3-star example. So a 3-star example would be, Malala knew she had to do something. She had her most powerful tool in her toolbox, her voice. Nothing would hold her back from using it. I still think that I could get a little bit better with my paraphrasing, but I think it definitely is it's taking the idea and putting it in my own words. It's not just saying she had a powerful weapon and use another analogy of a tool in her toolbox. It's not just, saying that she would risk everything for it. It's nothing would hold her back. So it's getting that same ideas across without just simply changing like a she to a Malala or, her own voice to her voice. It's really changing the words, almost all the words. So here's a really helpful way of how do I know like what information I should be using. So you could be using some explanations. So explanations of why animal abuse is bad, some descriptions about what types of animals are abused or what animals look like when they're abused, Quotations from other texts or experts. Vocabulary words in bold. All of your articles have things that are great about bold vocabulary words. Definitions, maps, photographs, glossaries, text boxes. Statistics is a big one. Down here with statistics, definitely be using statistics because that's what's really going to sell your reader on, well, why do I care about animals? Well, because 10 animals a day die because of abuse, stuff like that. Lists and diagrams with labels, all great things to pull information from. So what you are going to end up being tomorrow is you're going to work on your graphic organizer a little bit more. You're going to start going through and picking, okay, well, here's my subtopic. Let's talk about my quote. What quote am I going to pick that would really, really convince my reader that animal abuse is bad? And then you're going to start going through and explaining, going back to this explanation, explaining, well, why does this tie in? Why does this information help me understand why this is bad, or help me understand why I should care? So here's a little bit about direct quoting and paraphrasing. We will get into more of it tomorrow. Don't forget to answer your recap tonight. Yet again, if I do not have your recap before class, at that point, it's just going to be a 0. So let me know if you have questions. Thanks. Bye.